Oh, this. Chewing on a flip-flop. Come on. We're just getting started. Oh. Okay, so here we go. So what are we talking about today? What are we talking about? Okay, so Prince Harry, Meghan Markle brace for fresh, embarrassing revelations as her estranged half-brother Thomas Markle Jr. joins Big Brother VIP in Australia. It's like, just give it up. Just give it up. Meghan, you're not going to be able to get away from talking to people that you know, because they know you and there is proof. So have a cordial relationship. It's the least you can do. But the more you try to hide it and act like I don't know you, who you, the more you're going to be embarrassed by different things that are going to come out. Now, I can see this clearly as Thomas Jr., you know, getting himself some VIP status off of your name. And that's just what happens. And it happens more so when you try to deny people that you know them. You try to deny their existence. The more they're going to be in your face in other platforms, just, you know, making a name for themselves off of you. I don't see why she's doing this. She makes it worse. So Thomas Markle is 54. He was spotted at Sydney Airport before he goes on to the show. He has to actually be in quarantine for 14 days. He currently does not have a relationship with Meghan. He did last speak with her 10 years ago. Now, if you think about it, Meghan's been on her show for almost 10 years. So I could see around the time she started getting herself some celebrity, she was like, okay, I'm getting rid of y'all. I don't want nothing to do with y'all. So she got rid of her relationship with her brother and all the rest of her family when she saw herself getting some celebrity as a C-list actor or D-list actor. And, you know, she tried to say on Oprah that she hadn't seen Samantha Markle in, 20 years. She exaggerates to really get herself to look more relevant or more well positioned than she is. And I've actually pulled out a couple of these exaggerations from the Oprah interview, which I'm going to do a video on. I've already shot it, but I'm going to bring that out. So, because I'm still looking for some more. I just haven't had time to go through it all. But I think it's important because this kind of shows you to the level in which she lies a lot, because she'll like boldly lie about something, and then she'll try to exaggerate as another form of lying. And you put those two together and you can't trust the thing the woman says. Nothing. Okay, Otis, what are you chewing on? That's bubble gum. And picked it up with my toes. He previously had labeled Meghan as phony, shallow, and conceited. And we know he was right. He was right. And that's why he said what he said, because he saw this happening when she got the little bit of celebrity that she had on that show Suits. Her big head is off the charts now that she in the royal family, and that a lot of people know her name. Like, you can't bring that girl down from her big head high. She is on a big head high like ain't no other. So it's real bad. And I think Thomas Jr., he needs to help her bring it down a notch. Like, help her bring her big head down a notch and keep it real. Keep it real. Keep her in check. Because that is the only time you can really get someone to get out of their big headedness. Like my story, and I always go back to this because I remember when I got my big head knocked down. You know, I told this story in the very beginning when I started my channel, how I got I was brought down to a level of humility. And from that point on, no lie, I was humbled in the most embarrassing, physically hurting, dramatic kind of a way. And sometimes I think it just takes something very drastic to get you out of your big head. And ever since, I've never been as big-headed as that day. And it happened when I was about, I don't know, I think I was like 9, 10, 11, like around that age, you know, and you're starting to figure out who you are. And I'm like, I'm bad. And this guy, okay, I'll tell y'all for those who haven't seen it. I'm on my bicycle, ride my bike, and I'm just thinking I am the greatest of them all. The greatest. Like the mirror on the wall told me, you are the greatest one of all. And I knew it. And I'm riding my bike. And these kids, these kids were on bikes too, and they were blocking our path. We were trying to get somewhere. And I got off my bike and I was like, look, y'all need to move out the way. Because like we are trying to get through. And the boy said, he looked me up and down. He was like, oh, okay. And he picked up a stick. I don't know where he got that stick from, but he picked up a stick, put it on his shoulder. He said, okay, you think you bad? You knocked this stick off my shoulder. And what did I do? In my badness kind of a way, I knocked the stick off of his shoulder. And before the stick hit the ground, my face was turned to the left. And I'm like feeling something I ain't never felt before. And it hurt. It really hurt. And from that moment on, I was humbled. Now, I'm not saying that Meghan needs to be physically assaulted, but I'm just letting you know that's how I got humbled. And I think Thomas Jr. getting out there and keeping it real, like that kid kept it real for me, keeping it real for Meghan is what she needs, because her head is too big. It's too big for her own britches. And she needs to be brought down. Meghan Markle was today braced for embarrassment as her estranged half-brother, Thomas Jr., is preparing to go on Big Brother. Now, Mr. Markle was spotted by staff at the Sydney airport going into his hotel quarantine, like I said, where he'll be for 14 days. The window fitter, who lives in Grants Pass, Oregon, does not have a relationship with Meghan, her husband, Prince Harry, or their 2 children, Archie and Lilibet, which is wrong. But anyway, okay, we know she wrong. He was previously labeled he labeled her as a phony, jaded, shallow, conceited woman, while also criticizing her for cutting off their father. And I can see her cutting off the father because she wants to have her own relationship with her father. She don't want her father to have a relationship with his kids from his previous marriage. And that essentially is why she's cut them off. Because if you have a relationship with your father, it makes sense that you would have a relationship with your father's children, especially when you were living with your father and your father's other children were around and there are pictures. So you have a relationship that she chose to cut off. And we know she's cut off her relationship with Doria's side of the family. Facts, folks. We're talking facts. She is the reason why. Okay. Now, I could see if, there was issues with her growing up, that the children were living in a faraway place and they never saw their father or Meghan when she was living with her father. But that's not the case. That is not the case. We saw pictures of when Samantha Markle graduated from college in 2008. And there's a picture of Meghan there at the graduation with Samantha taking pictures. So that was 10 years ago. So, well, a little over 10 years ago. But when she gave the interview, she said she hadn't seen her in 20 years. An example of her, once again, exaggerating. She said that Samantha had changed her name when she married into the royal family. Samantha actually changed her name well before Meghan even Harry, and then changed it back to Markle by the time she was graduating in 2008. There's proof. It's on her diploma that you see in the picture. So she didn't change her name back to Markle when she married Harry. She had done this about 10 years ago when she graduated college. But because she has this big platform with Oprah, she can spew her lies. And everyone else has to fight to get their truth out. And this is one way Thomas Jr. is going to get his truth out. And he is going to give it on this show. And I say good for you, Thomas. Good for you. Do what you have to do, because of how she's behaving, you can still kind of, I mean, you have some celebrity just because of what Meghan has done. So embrace your celebrity, Thomas Jr. Embrace it, honey, and go on that show and be you and have fun. Okay, that's what I say. Mr. Markle Jr. has previously said that the last time he saw Meghan was in 2011, telling the German newspaper Bild, that's the name of the newspaper, that his family believes she was now a changed person. He was living with her father, Sister Samantha Grant, also known as Samantha Markle, and stepmother Doria Ragland when Meghan was born in 1981. Now, Mr. Markle Jr., who was Meghan's older paternal half-brother, was married for 11 years to Tracy Dooley until they divorced in 2001, and they had two sons, Thomas and Tyler Dooley. In January, so he must be Thomas the third. Thomas the third, Thomas and Tyler. So we got Thomas Markle, which is Thomas Sr., the father. Then we have Thomas Jr., the half-brother. And then we have the son of the half-brother, Thomas Dooley and Tyler Dooley. So in January 2007, Mr. Markle Jr. Was charged with allegedly holding a gun to his fiancee Darlene Blount's head during a drunken argument. Oh my goodness. He later apologized, but it is not clear how the case ended. Yeah, that alcohol do it to you every time. It's the devil's poison. Make you act crazy. I guess that's what happened to him, right? Okay, so it is also not clear if he is replacing the far-right commentator, Miss Hopkins, who was sent back to the UK on Monday. So I don't see this show. It's over in the UK. Maybe I'll watch it. I do have a VPN. So Hopkins is that lady who is very controversial in the UK, who really has set Miss Meghan Markle, you know, in her place a few times. Very well, I might add. Former BBC apprentice candidate had sparked outcry in Australia when she had boasted on Instagram of trying to violate quarantine rules by opening her door naked and maskless to hotel staff. Okay, that's why she had to go, because she was controversial while in quarantine and she was just taking it a little too far, and they were like, okay, you've got to go. Miss Hopkins, 46, has become known in recent years for her extreme views on immigration and COVID-19. And she also had her visa revoked on Sunday and was put on a flight back to Britain the next morning. Wow. They weren't playing with her. Other notable contestants taking part in the Big Brother VIP include Caitlyn Jenner. What? Caitlyn is on that show? Okay. Who flew in from Los Angeles last week, and she is also known to be in hotel quarantine. The 71-year-old American personality, who is also running for governor of California, is rumored to be getting $500,000 for her appearance on the show. Mr. Markle Jr.'s salary is unknown. Well, you know what, Mr. Thomas Jr., if Caitlyn's getting $500,000, you must be getting at least $100,000. So good for you. And this is the thing, if you have to do something like this, Thomas, because your sister, your half sister, is just acting like she don't know nobody and she's trying to be Miss Goody Two Shoes, then you getting your due is very much appropriate in this manner. This is a good way to get her to just kind of smack her down. You're just who we saw as a little girl growing up. And you trying to be all Miss High and Mighty now is just showing that you perpetrating. And that would infuriate me. That would infuriate infuriate me. If I knew her when she was nothing but a snotty-nosed child, and then she got her a little bit of celebrity, then you gonna act like you don't know nobody? No. We keeping it real, and I'm gonna let you know that you ain't all that. I'm just as much a celebrity as you are, and I don't even have to marry the guy. So that's how Thomas is seeing this, I am assuming. So he would likely have obtained obtained a critical skills visa in order to be allowed to enter into Australia during the pandemic, while thousands of Australian citizens remain stranded overseas and unable to come home. Filming of Big Brother VIP is set to begin at a purpose-built complex at Sydney Olympic Park in the coming months. The set is currently being constructed despite the ban on building works in the city after the producers were granted special permissions. This is interesting. So I think good for you, Thomas Jr. Go get your celebrity. Show people who Meghan was when you knew her. Keep it real, because you are doing a service. You are providing a service for the people. And you are showing the people that when your head get too big, it need to be brought down a notch so that she can't get out of control and do harm to society. Because we know in the past, and you can think of this on your own, but you know people, leaders who have thought their head was too big. They've thought they were almost godlike. They had to be put in place with extreme measures. And for me, this just is one of those ways that this girl is being kept down in a way that is preventing her from going off the charts crazy with her ego and doing harm to other people. Thomas Jr., we want to speak to you. We want to get some insights from you. We want to hear the things that you knew about your half sister on the show, because I think it would really give us some good insight into the person who is trying to claim royalty now in America. She's trying to claim royalty in America. Well, hey, look, you want to be public about your life as an American royal. We know, first of all, we don't have royalty here. But in her head, y'all, she is an American royal. Okay, I can assure you of this. She thinks she's an American royal. So while she's off in la-la head with her imagination as a American royal, Mr. Thomas Jr. can keep it real for us and kind of let us know some insights into who she was growing up, what it was like, and how he came to these conclusions that she was conceited and how she's changed as a person. Because there are some things that happened between the time that he last seen Meghan and from the time that she became a princess in the UK. So we want to kind of hear about these developments that happened prior to her becoming a princess. I think this is going to be information that will really help us understand and learn about who this woman, Meghan Markle, really is. So you doing a service, Thomas Jr., keep it up, do it, so that we can all live in peace and harmony in America.